Welcome to Season 7 of Paper Talk,
where we share stories about growing and thriving in your creative business.
I'm Quinn Nguyen of Pinkham Hosey.
I'm Jessie Chu of Crafted to Bloom.
And I'm Sarah Kim of Handmade by Sarah Kim.
In this season, we want to explore the evolution of an artist's journey and the growth and struggle of having a business.
Plus, we'll chat with other entrepreneurs and artists to uncover their keys to success.
So get ready to unlock the potential in your creative journey with us.
Hello. Welcome back to another episode of Paper Talk. Today, we have a special guest that we want to share with you today. Her name is Gina Arzola of Gina Paper Mountain. You can find her on Instagram under that handle. Hi, Gina. Welcome to our show. We're so excited to have you here.
Hi, Quinn. Hi, Jessie. Thank you for having me.
We're so excited here.
I'm so excited to be here.
Gina, I've been following you for quite some time. I don't even remember when I started following you, but I remember seeing your beautiful flowers and the variety of flowers that you had on your Instagram account. So tell us a little bit about how you started. How did you get into paper flowers?
So back in 2019, I was looking for a hobby, hands-on hobby to do. And I was online checking what to get into. And I was looking at paper and I came across paper flowers. And I was like, wow, how does that happen? How do you create this from paper? It was just amazing to me. And I started deep diving into it. It took me a couple of times to actually keep a flower that I liked, that I made. And I think probably after about 6 times, I gave up for about 2 months. I was like, man, I'm not good at this. Like, it's probably not for me. And then like about 2 months passed and I was like, you know what? Let me try again. Let me get my hands into this again and not give up. And I'm so glad that I didn't. Yeah, it was like crazy. And then I think actually after that, I actually kept my flower, but I really wish I did keep all of them so I could see my progress. But it was like, no, that looks nothing like it and stuff like that. But I think the more I tried it, the more I gave it my all, then I started to see, okay, it's happening. It's coming around.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So then I started really exploring different like tutorials, different templates, things like that. Went bigger, which was amazing to see the different types of skill that I could actually do. And I think that really opened up the world of paper flowers for me. And I started off with cardstock. And I want to say maybe thanks to you guys when I did the workshop, I think it was the one that we did. I think it was the Blossom that really deep dived into the crepe paper and that held me up. I was so intimidated with crepe paper. It looks so much more delicate than cardstock. But actually, I think crepe paper is so much more durable than it's so crazy. But yeah, so I think I'm slowly transitioning to just crepe paper, but definitely cardstock. When I do bigger blooms, they definitely hold a special place in my heart.
Yeah. Yes. Okay, wait until you start making super large crepe paper flower heads. It will be a game changer for you.
Yes, I'm excited for that.
It's going to be super fun. I can't wait to see you start making them. So was there a particular moment in your paper flower career that you suddenly fell in love with paper flowers? What was that light bulb moment where, okay, this is it. I can really do something with this medium?
I think it's when I did my first 2-foot flower, 2-foot cross flower. And I just fell in love with the big bloom and putting it on a big stem. And I had one for one of my birthdays on display. And I was like, this is so awesome. Like, this is just beautiful. And then I started to actually get family members that wanted some for their walls, for decorations for their home. My mom, she's of course my number one fan and she has them all over her house.
Oh,
and
thanks for mom.
Yeah, she's the best. It's nice to see that it adds that little distinct look for your home. And I just love like how it looked for people. I love the emotion, the reaction that people got from it, that how did you do this? Like how the same reaction that I got when I first came along to it. So it's like opening their eyes to a whole new world of paper.
That's so cool. Do you prefer big flowers or small flowers?
It's much easier to make the smaller ones, like not too small, maybe the life-size ones, but I really love doing the big ones, but I'd say I'd probably do more of the smaller ones, right?
What's your favorite flower to make?
Roses.
Yes, they're always so fun. Is there a particular rose that you like to make?
I believe like it's probably the garden rose. That's probably my favorite.
Tell us about a challenge that you had in 2020. That sounded like a big deal. And this season, we really are trying to explore challenges that we've all had as artists and entrepreneurs. And I think learning about how other people overcome their challenges is really inspiring. Gina, tell us a little bit about yours.
In 2020, I actually had got a pretty bad injury to both of my hands. It was pretty significant. I had to have surgery on one of them, actually, and it was an injury to both my wrists, breaking up a dog fight. And it was really bad.
Oh, no. I was going to ask you how, but oh my goodness, that sounds horrific.
Yes. And
was it your dog?
It was my dog and a stray dog.
Oh, gosh.
And it was, it's pretty bad. And I fell into kind of like a small depression because it was like, oh, am I going to have to give this up? Like I just started back in 2019 and I was really starting to pick up some momentum, and I had to make sure that my mind was stronger, even though I felt like I was not strong. So after physical therapy and just giving it a break I think I had to give it a break for about a couple months, and getting back to it slowly. I think what helped me really is keeping up with the physical therapy, the exercises, because some tools that I would use to like curl flowers, that would really affect my hand. I was starting to get like trigger finger where my hand would cramp up, but slowly but surely that's gotten a lot better. It doesn't really happen too often anymore. It's only when I'm like really working a lot of hours that it might affect me, but just trying to keep my head strong around that time. Definitely not give up, because I was like, I really did not want to give up because of it, and trying to keep my mind strong for it. Keep up with the exercises because I owe my body that much to give it my all. So that was really a big thing for me and a big challenge for me in 2020.
Oh, wow. How long was the recovery for that?
It happened in August. I had surgery about 2 weeks later, and then I had to go to physical therapy for almost 2 months. I believe I took about 4 months off before I really started going back at it. Yeah.
Obviously, you couldn't make anything. Did it affect your day job? Did you have a day job?
Yes, I do actually have a day job. I work at a hospital in the pharmacy, and it did affect me somewhat at my day job, but my job was accommodating for me. There were certain things I couldn't do for a little bit, some things I could do. They were accommodating for me.
Glad to hear that you had a good support system around you. Was your partner a good partner to help you through this entire phase?
Yes, like he definitely helped me a lot, because for the first 2 weeks after it happened, I could not move my hands. I couldn't like do house chores or anything. It was really bad, but he definitely stepped up and helped me, did my share, did his share and everything. So,
oh gosh. Oh my goodness.
We need more people like that in our lives.
Yes. He was definitely, the best for me. Like really, it was great to have him.
What was the first thing you did when you fully recovered? You were confident that you could use your hands in a way that might a bit of stress on them. What was the first flower that you made?
For a while, I stuck to what I knew, which was the cardstock roses. So I can't really remember. I'm guessing that's probably what I did, because I know I kept to what I knew the best and what was less strenuous on me. And I believe it was like the medium size that I was doing a lot at that time for home decor.
It makes sense, right? Going back into something that is familiar to you and to your hands as well. Because your hands remember things too. But I can imagine it after surgery and after a traumatic injury like that, you really are relearning how to use your hands, like the muscles, and your muscle memory's gone in some ways. So retraining them must have been quite a challenge. Good for you. That's, I can only imagine. I can imagine how difficult it must have been for you I have a history of ankle issues. I have hypermobility in my ankles. I used to always sprain them really badly. And then it got to a point where I had to have surgery because I dislocated my right ankle. And I remember there was one day where I was like, this was before my surgery, and I was still spraining my ankle. And I was like, what is wrong with me? And I cried. I literally was on my bathroom floor crying because I'm like so devastated that a part of my body that I've used all my life was no longer working properly. And it was, for me, I've played soccer my whole life. So I'm not saying that it's equivalent to hands, because I can't say it's equivalent to hands, but being robbed of a love and passion because you're physically not capable of doing it, it's devastating. Like you lose a part of yourself. You lose a part of your soul in a way. You're like, that brings me joy and now I can't do it. And you're just like, it's like grief, right? You're grieving over it. So I can only imagine that even after your surgery, you're not even sure if your hands can do what it used to do. Like, how far can you push it? So no, good for you for pushing through all that pain, all that trauma, and going back at it, diving back into something you love. Because I'm sure that you probably wasn't sure. You're probably not confident going in because it could reveal something about you not being able to do something. I don't know. I'd be afraid. I'd be like, what if I can't do it? I don't know. Maybe I should procrastinate and hold off on it. So good for you for overcoming that challenge. It's not an easy one.
No, thank you.
Oh, you're so welcome. So tell us a little bit about your television appearance. We have Quinn's been on TV a lot of times.
Yes.
Thanks for the plug.
Gina, it's so cool. You're at like Quinn level.
Good job, Gina.
That is the goal to meet her.
Yeah, exactly. No, exactly. Like,
I was super nervous, but it was great. I was introduced actually at one of the places that I do teach classes at. I met a lady there at one of like an open house type deal, and she had referred me to the local news station person who interviewed her. And she's, I think you'd be great for this. Why don't you reach out to her? And I did. And amazingly, I was so surprised that they actually reached out back to me.
That's so awesome.
Yeah, because I was like, you get that little bit of imposter syndrome. And I'm like, am I even worse there? There's so much more talented people here in Northern Virginia, Washington, D.C. and stuff like that. Like, we're all surrounded by it. And I was so amazed that they reached back out to me. And it was really one of those things where I'm like, I broke out of my shell again. She came over to my house. I have a small studio out back of my house. It's like a she shed type thing. And she came to interview me. And we talked about like how I got into paper flowers, what I've done with them, things I've made with them. So I've showed her my cardstock, my crepe paper flowers. And I think the more I spoke to her, the more confident and less shy I got. But I definitely felt so super nervous the whole time. And even though people are like, you did not seem nervous on TV. And I'm like, I was super nervous on TV.
You have a wonderful presence and your smile is, I wish you guys could see her smile. She has the best smile and it just lights up her entire face. And I could see why. You did amazing. I watched your segment. It was really amazing and sweet. And I love that you showcased that paper flowers is more than just paper flowers. And I love all the different projects that you've done. I know from my own experience, when I was on TV, I started getting a lot more different jobs. A lot more customers started reaching out to me because it's something relatively new. Even after we've been doing this for a decade, I feel like people are like, what? You do paper flowers? What is that? I want to hear your elevator pitch. What is your elevator pitch when you meet a stranger and they ask you, what do you do?
Not to put you on the spot.
Yeah.
But what is your elevator pitch?
I think the first thing I do is I pull up pictures because I think it's really hard to imagine that when you don't have any experience with it or exposure to it. So I definitely I show them my Instagram and like my Pinterest, and they're like, wow, how do you do that? And I'm like, let me tell you, it's just that. And it's this many layers of paper. It's this many petals. And it really captures their interest. And then I pitch my class, like soon I'll be having a class and you could come and just check it out and things like that. So yeah, I think the thing is, whenever I do tell people I do make paper flowers, that I always have to show them a picture. And then I think it just takes it from there. And I just answer their question.
It does make it easier.
And when I was on the TV segment, actually really opened some doors for me. I was invited to a local like art show that really was able to teach a class there. And then I was also, that was opened the door for me for the National Gallery of Art. That's
congratulations, by the way.
That's so cool. They saw the segment and they reached out to me and I was like, wait, is this like spam? I had to read it like 3 times and I'm like, no, this is like real. Yeah. I reached back out and one thing led to another and it was,
That is so cool. Tell us about it. Tell us about this huge event that you were asked to participate in.
So every year, the National Gallery of Art, they host some fall theme events, some springtime events. And this year they were doing a fall theme event for the Day of the Dead. and they had asked me if I would be interested in doing a workshop there, if I would be interested in doing kits for their workshop. And so we had a meeting, went through what I could do because they wanted something that could be done in a specific amount of time. So I had a couple of challenges. One, something that was easy to follow, that was done that could be done within 15, 20 minutes for each person, and that I could do for a mass of about 700 people.
That's crazy. 700 people.
Yes.
You heard that right, people. 700 kits she had to put together.
And their event usually sees a couple of thousand of people, but they did contract me for 700 kits. So we went back and forth with like ideas of what to do with the Day of the Dead. Marigolds are always a big thing for them. Mm-hmm. So I felt like that was an appropriate flower to do for the event, a wearable flower. They had the choice to wear it on their hair, and I provided a tutorial to them. So I recorded it, edited it, and gave them, they supplied a QR code to their guests. I did the kits for them, and it was just crazy. It was an amazing experience to see a huge room full of people making my flower. And it was something I had to create out of. I went to the drawing board and did my template, played with a couple of ways. So we actually did the marigold. It was with cardstock and crepe paper. So I did the center in crepe paper and the rest was in cardstock, which I felt was really amazing because I wanted to introduce people to both mediums. I felt like that was a great way to do that. I was really proud of what I did. And I was actually amazed at myself that I did it.
That's you should be. Yes. We're so proud of you, by the way.
Thank you so much. That means so much to me. It was just amazing to be asked to be participating in that, to put my talent out there, give it my all. I didn't know how it would be received. And the feedback was amazing. Like when I would go talk to different tables that were making the activity, and I would be telling them, I created this activity. People were just so amazed, and the feedback was just amazing. And it just really fueled that fire in me. And I'm like, I can definitely do this like for more. Usually my classes are about 10 people or so. And I'm like, man, this is a room with hundreds of people.
So are you doing this full time now?
Not full time, but I have cut down my hours at work so I could dedicate more time to my small business.
Wonderful. Do you plan to go full time at one point down the road?
At one point, I do hope so. That is the goal. I felt like if I did it slowly, that it would make me feel more secure. But definitely the way things are looking, I hope to make it a full-time thing. Definitely.
That's wonderful.
Yeah. No, that's so inspiring. You're not the only one who has a day job and makes paper flowers as a side business or maybe as a hobby at first, and then it turns into something more. Yeah, it's inspiring to hear that you're thinking about the shift, and with all of these opportunities opening up for you, that it could be possible as well.
Yes.
Yeah, that is so cool. When did you start teaching, by the way? I talked about your flowers and we talked about your teaching, but missed in between. When did you start teaching, and what made you decide you wanted to teach?
It took me a bit to actually feel comfortable to teach, but I believe that 2022 was the first time I actually rented a studio to teach at. I believe it was 2022. And I had a group of, my first students were a group of my family members and friends. And it just made it so much better because I could see what I needed to change for people who may not know me on a personal level. So I felt like that helped to see what I needed. And I felt more comfortable to kind of see, okay, I shouldn't do this one, or I should do this more. So it was nice to have that icebreaker when I had people that I felt mostly comfortable with. And then from there, it progressed to students that I don't know that signed up. And that was great too, because I learned how different people, how they learn differently. It was a process for me, but I think I've gotten it down. Like I have a plan going into it. I gauged a room, but I always give people, and I try to schedule my classes with more time. That way, if anybody does need more, I do try to do beginner friendly only classes at the moment. I don't feel like right now I can do intermediate and stuff right now, but I do enjoy the beginner friendly classes. So I think that helps me with that progress of teaching. And actually one time I taught for an open house for one of the places I do classes at. I believe they were all about 8. They were under 10. And that was interesting to see kids do it. And
They love it so much.
Yes. And it was just really an eye opener. Like, okay, this is it. But it was nice to teach like a really young class and then teach like classes of my peers or elders. So I just try to adapt best. But I gauge the room, but I definitely pay attention to who may need help more, or if somebody wants individual help, I definitely do that.
Where do you usually hold your workshop?
So I have this one place that I do. It's in Northern Virginia, and it's at a crafts place. And I have 3 locations right now. One is by me, that there's an art studio by me in Front Royal that hosts classes there. They recently opened, I believe, this past year. And the one place I do the most is in Chantilly. Another place is in Manassas in Northern Virginia, and it's just like another craft place as well.
Yeah, that's lovely. It's great to be able to connect with local people.
Yes. So I say if anybody is interested, like if they're getting into the world of paper flowers, reach out to your local art studio, reach out to your local craft studio. They're always looking, at least by me, they're always looking for new talent, new people to teach at their place.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like the moral of your story is just ask, right?
Yes.
That's what you've been doing. Just ask. Even if you feel like, oh, I'm not sure, like there's so many other people who are better than me. You asked. They did it, right? And the opportunities and the doors open for you. Even on this podcast, you reached out to us, told us about your story, and we were like, yeah, cool. Why not? What can I say? I think it's very brave of you to reach out, but I think also a lot of people can learn from you that there's really nothing to be afraid of, right? No. The worst is people say no. Okay, that's fine. You move on. But the yeses can be really, truly amazing experiences. And you really don't know until you ask. So good for you.
I think we can be our own stone walls, and we're like scared to break out of our shells per se. But definitely, I think, what is the harm in asking?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. There really is no harm. Yeah, no, for sure. We are sometimes our own worst enemies, right?
Yes. It's all in our head, everybody.
It's all in our heads.
Be open to possibilities. They're just around the corner. Yes. What other opportunities are coming up this coming year?
So this coming year, I do have some opportunities at my local art studio. They were very eager to work with me when I showed them what I do. And the lady that runs the studio, she had never seen it. And I was like, yeah. So that is something I'm working on pretty closely with to hopefully get some more classes going there. I hope next year that in 2025, I'll be navigating a new part of my life. I'm expecting a baby. So in May, I plan to take a couple months off.
Congratulations.
Wonderful.
Thank you. So I plan just to take a couple months off, but hopefully in the future, I would love to do Mommy and Me classes. It's something I'm definitely looking forward to, especially expecting a baby girl. So like the flowers and everything. And I was also hoping to get into like decorating nurseries. So like showing moms how if you're expecting and, hey, you think you could do this by yourself, you can do this by yourself. And you can decorate your nursery to how you'd like it. That's one thing I'm super excited about, to be decorating her nursery with flowers, of course. So that's definitely on the horizon for me. So I was already thinking about how can I do a simple template to get the attention of a toddler with the mom or the dad. So I think definitely I'm looking forward to that. So I believe the months that I'll be taking off, of course, I want to really explore making those templates. So I hope to be doing that.
Yeah. Oh, it's so exciting. I wish I had girls. I would have been like taking so many pictures with them. They'd be styling flowers and not to be stereotypical about it. Yeah. Although I have to say, now my kids, my boys, you really have to train them. It doesn't matter, girl or boy, your kids. You have to train them from the very beginning. And normalize what you do in front of them, right? If you normalize it, they won't think it's strange. They won't think that, doing art, or it's not a job. Even just recently, I have to say recently, because before this age, they wouldn't have been able to do it. They were helping me pack some of my kits. And
awesome.
yeah, and I'm like, oh, thank goodness. When there's a lot, it's really overwhelming. I don't do 700. That would have been a quick no for me. But even 30 kits, when you're doing them under a time crunch and when there's a lot of moving pieces, it's nice to have extra hands.
And I'm sure they love to help.
Yeah, they do. They feel really accomplished. You got to get them at that age where they still want to help you with the dishwashing or the unloading things because they think it's fun. But you do have to give them small tasks, some step by step. And I literally would be like, you just do this. And then I don't tell them what they have to do next. You tell them what they have to do next afterwards because or else they get what do you want me to do? I don't get it. And then you don't want them to miscount or whatnot. But I think the mommy and me activities would be so fun. If the toddler can even just do one part, one little thing, I think they would have so much fun.
Yes.
But yeah, I'm so excited for you.
Yeah. Can we revisit that 700 kits? How did you plan that out? Because that is a lot of kit to make in preparation because you have a deadline. So how did you figure out the logistic for it? And how did you order all the items for it and make it happen? And did you pre-cut all the petals or did you have the students cut it?
So when I was going to make them, it really helped that they wanted a simple design, that they wanted simple plus something that could be done fast. So I did pre-cut all the petals for them. It was done in layer template. And the only thing that they had to do was curl their flower. The center that I gave them a strip of crepe paper, they had to cut that too, and that way they could quill it as well. So they cut that for the kind of center, the marigold center. That's the only thing they had to cut. And then they had to curl everything else and quill the center. So that and glue it all together. So that part, I believe the whole tutorial and stuff was about 20 minutes. But if they sped through it, the whole activity itself was about 10, 15 minutes to do. But they just had to consist of curling, cutting the center and gluing together the hair clip. And if they wanted to wear it on their hair, putting the kit together, the National Gallery of Art, they actually provided the glue, the dowels to curl the flowers or curl the petals. I provided the petals, the center, the hair clip, some glue dots so that they can attach it to the hair clip faster. I did work with different things if the glue sticks versus the white glue would work better. I worked with what they had there at the National Gallery. They told me what supplies they have, and I centered it around that to help ease that whole transition.
That's smart.
And so it was just about putting the kit together. So we actually did it in bags, in cellophane bags. Mm-hmm. We did the petals together, the center, the clip, the glue dots. And then the way they had it set up, they had activity tables where they had dowels, they had glue sticks, and they had the QR codes, and there was Wi-Fi there. So they just had to log on to their Wi-Fi, and it was a YouTube tutorial that they had access to. And they could take the activity home if they liked. But I would say about 90, I think about close to 100% of people did it there. But I just went around to different tables, conversated with people, see if they had any issues or trouble. So I did help a couple of people, but they did like how the tutorial was very simple, very easy to follow. And that's what I centered it on. I knew their goal was to have people sit down and do it within 15 minutes. So I just made sure when I was testing it out, I sent it to my family and I'm like, do you think you could follow this? Is this something that you could do? And I actually asked my husband too. He does not make flowers. So it was okay. I asked him too. And I'm like, okay, can you follow this? Like someone who has not ever done flowers. Yeah. And he was like, yeah, it's super easy to follow and things like that. So it helped me know I was going in the right direction with it. So I think definitely testing it out on my family members and my husband, that really helped. But keeping it around the supplies they had and their goals of what they wanted the workshop to entail, that's what kept me thinking, okay, this is how I should do it. And I'm just really happy how it ended up.
Yeah. Wait, did you cut your petals by hand?
No. So the cardstock ones, they were cut using my cutting machine. So those were, but I did cut the strips of
you still have
paper
to
by hand.
Take them. Yeah.
Yes.
No, I recently got a Cricut. Even if it does cut, even if your machine cuts it, you still have to get it off of the pad. Yeah. So it's not that it takes, I'm sure it does take it's faster, but at the same time, like there's still time invested in doing that,
Yes.
honestly.
Yes. I sized the template to where one flower fit on one sheet. So that way I wasn't wasting like material and things like that.
Yeah.
So that I simplified my process. And that I think really helped me.
Yeah, for sure. But I can still imagine stuffing 700 bags is a lot. Just doing that, like just that action of grabbing the stuff and putting it in, like it takes time. It doesn't seem like it. You're like, oh, that's nothing. It's a simple tutorial. But 700, wait,
So how long did it take you?
How long did it take you? Jeez.
This was a couple-week process. Definitely, I think it took me between 3 to 4 weeks to definitely start cutting. Like this is just the cutting and sorting part. I probably took about 2 weeks to get the design down, get the tutorial down to show them and go back and forth in our meetings to decide if this fit what they were looking for their workshop. And we agreed on a design and that's where we took it from there. So I think in total, it's about a month and a half that I dedicated to this project.
That's amazing that you had enough time to put it all together.
Yeah. Question, how did they pay you? Did they pay you per kit or was it a flat fee? Was it something you guys discussed together?
Yeah, we discussed it together and I'm really happy that I negotiated because I feel like I did not want to cut myself short, even though I was talking, I was kind of intending talking to the National Gallery of Art. And I'm like, so that negotiated, I felt like I should be paid for what I was worth, my time and everything. And I don't want to sell the talent short. And so it was a flat fee and I did work with their budget per se, but I was able to negotiate for myself. And definitely we settled on a number that we were both happy with for sure.
No, good. I think that's the most difficult part is when you receive this opportunity and you really want this job and at the same time having to negotiate a fee that you feel is fair for you. And usually things take longer than you expect. I don't know about you, but you'll negotiate and be like, okay, it'll be about this time. And then you accept the fee or whatever it is. You spend the time and you're like, oh my gosh, like not that you meant to undersell yourself. It's just things just take longer because you want to do them so well. But good for you for actually having that conversation with them and negotiating with them because I can only imagine how much, like you said, took you a week to do. And those are weeks that you're spending probably night and day.
Yeah, especially after my full-time job. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. That's your free time, technically. Yeah. But no, that's so good. Yeah.
I will say I do talk to sometimes a muralist that works out here in Washington, D.C. And he helped me. The best advice that I think for pricing myself that he gave me was give them packages. Tell them you can charge X amount. This what that would entail. Give them like a tier system. And I think that's helped me negotiate on bigger jobs. Like last year, the muralist that I'm talking about, he actually had me do some flowers for his mural that was part of a big event in DC. And it was actually at the Hamilton Hotel in DC. And I was able to do butterflies made from crepe and cardstock. And I did roses and marigolds, bigger ones made from crepe paper. And those were on the murals at this event at the Hamilton. And that was my first exposure to making packages deals. Okay, if this is my tier 1 versus my tier 2 versus my tier 3. And it was nice because this was a sponsored project from big liquor company names. And so they settled on a package and I think, oh, wow, that made it so much more easier. Hey, this is what you'll get for this price. And if you want to take it up a notch or take it down a notch, this is what you can expect. Right. So I think definitely that advice really helped me for this project as well.
Wonderful.
Yeah, so interesting. Thank you for sharing that.
Yes.
Yes. All right. Before we end this particular episode, Gina, we want to ask you, what is a life hack that you can share with our audience?
I think a life hack for me, at least when it comes to, I want to share something about my paper flowers. So it's become easier for me to advertise for myself with QR codes. Like QR codes have always been a great thing once I've discovered them. So I'll put them behind the flowers. If I'm doing flowers for the wall, definitely put them there. I recently added it to my business card. So that was something, especially when I was over there conversating at the gallery, if somebody wanted to see my socials, they had the QR code right there and they could see all my socials. They could see where to contact me. So I think definitely the QR code was a great invention. With like people are always on the go.
Yes.
So it's something that's really nice. I hope that's a good hack.
Yes. So where is the best place that you found to create QR code?
So I actually use Canva, and that is what I love. And when I'm out at like class or something or out at an event, I'll have printed out with the QR code along with my business cards that have it.
Yay. How about you, Jessie? What's your life hack this week?
Not as interesting as Gina's, but you know how you have probably after you've used your, what do you call it? Oh gosh, the Lysol wipes. After you finish your Lysol wipes and you're like left with this big plastic bottle, because it's a bottle, container. Yes, container. I know people like who have encouraged me to just stick paper towels in it and reuse the liquid stuff, but I don't do that. I just pour it out. I rinse it out. I find that it's really useful putting my like garbage bags or supermarket bags, or either the clear ones or the supermarket ones, because here in Ontario, at least, you have to buy your bags. They don't give them out at the supermarket anymore, but you probably collect them all. You collect a lot of them and you don't know where to put them. So anyways, I take a whole bunch of them. I line them up, overlapping, and then I roll it all up and then I stick it into the container and I pull them out like the wipes. So that way it's nice and concise. It's like clean. You can take the label off and it's nice and clean and blank. So I have one in the car. I have one up in both of my washrooms so that I can replace the garbage bags. But yeah, that's been a pretty good way of doing it where it's nice and clean. It's reusable. I don't have to buy a new storage box for it. And yeah, even my kids can easily just pop it open and pull out a garbage bag. So yeah, that's what I do.
What about you, Quinn? All right. I haven't done it yet, but this is my life hack that I'm going to implement in my life. In January, people are restarting new. And one thing that I have is I have a chest freezer, I have a pantry, and I feel like I stock it, I use it, but I don't use everything. I am definitely trying my best in January not to buy any protein because I do have a lot of meats in the freezer and also have lots of cans. My goal is to go through, use all my frozen meats in January. And then if I don't use it because I know it's old, I will either throw it away and make sure I start with a clean slate on February 1. That's my goal. So I think you guys should too, because everybody knows that in the back of their pantry, we have some expired cans that maybe that they're just a few years too old. Questionable. Yes, questionable. So I would say January, use what you have. And let's start with February 1 with a clean slate that you know that it's going to be great.
I know those deep
are both
freezers,
really good.
Right?
They're great, and yet they're not great.
Exactly. Gina, thank you so much for joining us this week. It's been such a pleasure getting to know your paper flower journey. And thank you so much for sharing so many great tips, because those were great insight for new beginners that are transitioning into the paper flower world on maybe teaching, maybe reaching out and getting another job, or trying to get more workshops in. I think those were such amazing tips. And you guys follow her on Instagram at Gina's Paper Mountain, because her Instagram feed is just really beautiful. And we can't wait for you to learn more about Gina. Thank you, Gina.
Thank you so much, you both, for having me. I really appreciate it. I've been following you guys for so long now, and you guys are definitely pioneers, I feel like, in our paper flower world, and you guys are just amazing.
Oh, thank you. You guys, if you have any comments for Gina, for us, please leave it down in the comments down below. We always are checking out comments, and give us a review. We really desperately need it because we are trying to reach worldwide and grow our paper flower community. And we're so happy you are here listening to us today. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.